After the murder of the gambling king, Rui was slandered as a murderer because there was a folding knife that had blood spots hidden in his room. So Rui used the eyes of the gods to see when the murder found that the culprit's finger was also injured. Now Rui is detained in the warehouse, while they gather to compile a plan with Bing Bing to save Rui. Faye explained that previously Rui had a fight with Steven, because it became a strong alibi if Rui became a suspect, while Jung continued to look for gaps to continue to accuse with a revenge for the grounds that the more burdensome was proof of the knife in this room. Bing Bing believes that Rui is impossible to commit murder to ask them to be witnesses for him, but that is not possible because the guests also accuse them of conspiring. This is the Zheng region, to make the police certainly more in favor. Realizing this, they must immediately find the perpetrators of the murder before the police arrived. Then, Huang Yu was curious why Rui could know if the killer's finger was injured. Moving to the basement, Rui's cell phone had difficulty getting a signal. Then, he heard something on the top floor. It turned out that it was a storage area for antiques, seeing Jung was busy tidying antiques that were discussed by Steven if some of them were illegal. Faye got the fact that Steven died about 3 hours ago and certainly still recorded by surveillance cameras, and Bing Bing knew where the location of the control room was. Then, the first two teams were made in charge of looking for instructions, and two searched for Rui's whereabouts. Faye tried to analyze the last location through the Sherlock from Rui with the map of the house. Huang Yu and Peng Pei disguised themselves as security guards, while Faye and Bing Bing were servants. Who knows where they got the uniform? They headed to the control room, pretending to send food. And when the menu is opened today, is a rope and mosquito spray. Faye immediately binds the two guards and Bing Bing to look for CCTV video recordings, while Huang Yu and Peng Pei are still looking for Rui's whereabouts. Faye realized that the recording when Steven's killing was killed had been deleted, but they found a recording after Jung came out of the scene. However, this recording was encrypted by password. Then, they planned to find second evidence, the last clothes worn by Jung, and Bing Bing told the location of his room to Faye. When Huang Yu and Peng Pei followed the hall, one of the guards thought both of them were new people, and Peng Pei greeted with fists from Mike Tyson. Bing Bing returned to the room to distract. By inviting Jung to his room, Bing Bing made a reason if it was uncomfortable alone, after there was an incident before. Then Jung quickly went to the location. Finally, they arrived in the assembly, found the door locked. Huang Yu explained about the plan they were doing. Then Rui said he was fine, even though the air was getting cold. But he was suspicious of the activity on the floor right above the storage warehouse. That seemed to be someone doing something, and then asked them together to check it. Jung arrived. Then, Bing Bing immediately told Faye if Jung was in the room with her. Jung entered the room and Bing Bing saw his finger injured. Faye found Jung's room with the expertise obtained. The former police officer easily got a locked room code. Elsewhere, they found a large room full of antiques with fantastic values, in accordance with the suspicion of Rui, which is why asking them both to come here. Then, Peng Pei seemed to find something interesting. Bing Bing treats the wound on Jung's finger on the grounds that the wound was obtained while slicing the fruit. Unexpectedly, the notification on his cell phone contains a message when his room has been burglarized, making Jung leave immediately. After entering the room, Faye looked for Jung's clothes evidence that was worn when killing. While Jung walked to his room, he felt strange because the hallway was supposed to be guarded. So he opened the door and found the guard was fainting. Two teams to go to their rooms and to the storage warehouse. while Fei continued to search and finally found clothes that had blood spots. The guards began to move while Feng left while holding a gun. Fei managed to come out carrying evidence from Zheng's room, but she ran into one of the guards, who then suspected that Fei had to beat him up. Pang Pei and Huang entered other rooms and found more antiques to smuggle. They began to check also taking pictures to be proof of illegal activities carried out by Zheng. Then they realized that the guard has arrived, and Pang Pei is ready to fight. In the basement, Zheng has entered the storage warehouse. By pointing Zheng's gun, he said that he admitted that he had killed Steven. He blamed Rui for finding fraud from the dealer and would trap Rui as if he killer Steven. Would also make an alibi if Rui died from suicide for fear of being caught. Fortunately, Fei immediately came to help before Rui was shot. Finally, Zheng was arrested by the police for being a suspect in a murder and smuggling of antiques. Actually, Bing felt sorry because Zheng was his best friend, but Zheng had to be responsible for his actions. A few days later, Bing apologized because this trip was almost a tragedy. Rui did not question this, because this incident could make the relationship better, also questioned about Emporium in Myanmar. Bing explained that Myanmar has the largest jade cultural exchange market. But unfortunately, in recent years, Boss Hao has only gained a few benefits to the sale of jade. When he entered, Fei was surprised to see the two of them, making him disappointed because actually, Fei liked Rui. Finally, they all arrived in Myanmar, a country rich in culture and tradition that was timeless. When going to the hotel, Bing called Rui to tell if tonight there was a dinner invitation from the Myanmar jewelry store will also be introduced to the colleagues in this country. Then Boss Hao asked that Rui buy car with him. Obviously, this makes Fei even more annoyed. In a place in Myanmar, the greatness of Rui after Emporium Fangzhou became a conversation in the world of precious stones in China. This is being discussed by a female businessman who seems to not want to meet with Boss Hao, but she is interested in meeting Rui if there is a chance. In other places, Bing tells that in Myanmar, the precious stone market continues to rise, and the largest Emporium company boss in Myanmar, named Hurong. This company has the largest mining area in Myanmar, also has the control of the jade market in Southeast Asia. Then they met Boss Hao. Boss Hao warns that the boss of the Hurong is a clever person, so Rui must be careful. But apparently. Then a woman approached, saying if Boss Hurong apologized, that she could not come because there was an important event. According to Bing, this is very rude, because they have come here personally. According to Boss Hao, it has been planned to use low-class psychological tactics that are commonly used by a woman. Knowing this, Rui was surprised, if Hurong was a woman. Even so, Boss Hao realized that he was always defeated by Hurong in Emporium. He could not lift his head in Myanmar. The next day, Fei met Rui to go to the auction event, and Fei, as a guard, wanted to come wherever Rui left. She had to be with him. The next day, Rui and Bing were in the Myanmar jade market. Bing explained that the conditions here were simpler than in more lively China, but do not rule out the possibility of getting good quality jade, so that the precious stone business people often come to Myanmar to harvest the best quality jade. Then, one of the assistants gave the news that the auction event would start soon. After entering, Rui began to see the stones on display on the auction table. One by one, Rui observed carefully, then tried to activate the eyes of the god to penetrate further inward. Rui's eyes slowly explored, finding the structure of purple jade mixed with golden colors that were so beautiful. Then came a woman who praised Rui's way of observing rough stones like an expert. This woman claimed to be a stranger who did not understand the stone, asking Rui to get advice to choose a stone recommendation for her. Rui said if he was not an expert, worried that the stone chosen did not meet expectations. But this woman still forced to find stone suggestions according to Rui's assessment. Rui explained that all stones come from old crater stones that have good quality. The woman asked, "How about Batu 303, which became the target of Emporium guests?" According to Rui, stone number 303 is not bad in view of the base or leather shows, the crystallization and transparency of the upper class, so as to guarantee the 50% of the best quality. But there are so many professionals present making competition become tighter, whose possibility of initial offering prices starts at 70 million yuan. Rui continued to check the rough stones after the mysterious woman left. Finally, the rough stone auction event has begun. On the table, 5 superior stones have been prepared that are ready to be auctioned. As representatives of Rui and Bingbing, who first saw rough stones, Rui tried to illuminate one carefully. Rui explained that all the stones were good quality, especially number 303. When Rui would show the stone chosen, Boss Hao invited him to leave the building. This was done because many guests worried that someone heard. Boss Hao is a little hesitant because of its convincing appearance. Rui again explained that the 129 stone is indeed black moss that has a crack in the middle. If more visible purple fog with a little golden yellow inside is indicating purple jade with the best quality. The woman was discussing to determine the stone to be chosen, even though she was also curious about the 129 stone, according to her instinct. But the man suggested other stones, such as numbers 303 and 185, because stone number 129, possibly. The results were not good. Then the woman will attack with full power of stone number 303. The time has finished. The narrator asks each team to start making choices. Rui was surprised when he saw the woman sitting in the front row with Boss Hao. The stone selection has been completed, and the results will be announced soon. Elsewhere, Huang Yu were walking in the market area. Suddenly, their cell phones were stolen by someone. Luckily, a beautiful girl quickly snatched the cell phone. The girl named Yuan asked for evidence by scanning Huang Yu's face. Huan reminded to always be vigilant in public places for tourists. And finally, Huan accompanied them. Returning to the auction place, the auction results were announced. Stone number 129, won by the family of Qin's family from Shihuang Jewelry at a price of 53 million yuan. Then, stone number 303 fell to the Hu family of Hu Jewelry Group at a price of 90.5 million yuan, who became the king of the auction this time. The stone 129 owned by Boss Hao was immediately executed at the location because he was sure of the choice of Rui. And if it was said to be proven, if this jade was purple with high quality, the name of the company Shihuang would receive attention in Emporium, also became famous in the Myanmar public market. Stones begin to be inserted and cutting is immediately carried out. After finishing the first piece, the stone is shown purple jade, making all guests surprised. Boss Hao was impressed with Rui with this result. Likewise, the team from Hurong does not believe in this result, because the raw stones alone can be more than 100 million yuan, and the price will rise if used as jewelry. This is luck for Boss Hao for finding the right person. Elsewhere, they gathered by enjoying the warm sun. In the conversation, Huan invited to go to his house because the scenery there was very good, while Pang Pei was in the temple praying for his dead brother. Returning to Emporium, Hurong congratulated Boss Hao for the best achievement today. But Boss Hao is modest because of a better Hurong, because it becomes the king of bid. While Rui just realized that it turned out that the woman who was met before was the famous Hurong boss. She apologized for not being able to attend last night's dinner. As an apology, Rui was invited to see Hurong's Jade collection, also saw how the jade in the process, and Boss Hao allowed this. Before going, Rui gave a gift in the form of a harpa music tool, because when he first came to Emporium, Bing Bing was interested in the instrument. After arriving at the hotel, they met Huang Yu, who told me that his cell phone was stolen and helped by a beautiful girl. While Bing Bing told me that Rui managed to get a quality purple geo that has rarely been found in recent years, Bing Bing is also grateful after getting a gift from Rui. Then Rui invited Huang Yu and Fei to go to Boss Hurong's Jade mine. But Fei refused because not only Rui was busy and had friends in Myanmar. The next morning, Huan Yu and Fei had arrived at Huan's house. Huan said that if they were not tired, they would be invited to go to the Jade mine. While Rui and Pang Pei had also arrived at Hurong's house, which turned out to be met in the same place, made them ask each other. Hurong revealed was the mother of Huan. Hurong also did not expect if they had known each other. Then this woman explained that the stone in the previous Emporium was partly obtained from here, whose surrounds became rich due to jade mining. But in 2 years, the mine was almost empty, because the coarse stone had begun to decrease and the target marketing of jewelry had also changed. Then, Rui was introduced to a company consultant named Uncle Joe, a former professor of geology. Joe was impressed with Rui's knowledge about jade and antiques. Then, Uncle Joe invited Rui to see anything in the research place. While Huan told me that if his father had died, then to give a better life, Hurong mobilized all the energy to the work. But according to Fei, the relationship of Hurong and Huan was very good, even if only the two of them. Then, Huan asked about Rui to make Fei confused and blushed. Realizing this, they both agreed to help in a love relationship. Returning to the research site, Rui saw employees very serious at work. Then, Rui is interested in seeing the map image, so that the Hurong shows the mining area they have divided by the red-striped supply path. Uncle Joe is still conducting research on the jade content in the area, with liquid chromatography and mass spectrometry. But the results are still difficult to obtain. Before going to the Hurong mine area, warning the road to the location is very difficult and must be careful. Finally, they left for the jade mining location. Because the bumpy streets made Huang Yu drunk. Huan explained that the reasons for the valley were closed because for 2 years, there were often mysterious events as a result of the ghost spirits. Also, according to workers last year, there were some young men going to the area to hunt. But after 10 days, only one young man who returned to act strangely shouted there was an animal human eating. Then Rui realizes the stone at the research site is the same pattern as the stone in the area has a purple jade quality. But according to Huan, the Hurong family has never produced purple jade at all. Rui felt something was odd, so they immediately headed to the location on a walk.